Hey, fur friends, welcome back to Docs Design's Master Your Brand webinar series. I can hardly contain my excitement for the speaker this month. Let's just say they're pretty dope. Dope Dog's robust product collection includes CBD dog treats, oil, and shampoo. They have been featured across ABC, CBS, NBC, and were recently featured on the O list in the Oprah Magazine, which is a huge deal. Michael and Erin created Dope Dog because of the issues with their own dogs that they faced. With no holistic products on the market to help their aging dogs post-surgery joint pain and their puppies' back discomfort, they knew they needed to bring a quality wellness product line to life. After extensive research, they created a CBD product line that dogs love. Michael's 10 plus years of experience in design and photography has prepared them well for this current role as the creative director of Dope Dog. Erin's background in sales and management is a fitting backdrop for the operations role within Dope Dog. I'm so excited to introduce Michael of Dope Dog. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for chatting with us today. As I mentioned, when I stumbled across your guys' brand on Instagram, I was instantly captivated. I think the name is so punny, the packaging is bold and memorable, and I just really love what you guys are doing within the pet space. So it all takes us a little bit to get to where we're going and to get to that place where we really feel like we've mastered our brands. And I like to ask everyone the same question on these interviews to start, and that was, where did you guys start? So if you could give me a brief overview of your business journey and kind of how you got to where you're at.
So yeah, it was kind of like, I guess in the point of Dope Dog, we knew we wanted to make something specifically for dogs, and we knew we wanted to do high quality treats, high quality products, and we were coming from a place of not really knowing this direct consumer product. We've never done anything like that. Like Erin, my partner, she does mostly management. She opened big stores, retail stores, and I come from more of like a photography design side. And it just kind of came up, and we wanted to do something like that. And I would say definitely for the brand, we didn't know what it was for a few months until after we like got it going, because you can sit here and plan and do everything, but you never really know until you start, okay, let's do this packaging. What's this going to look like? What's our Instagram? What's the bag? And, it gets almost overwhelming. But once you just kind of push it out there, it started slowly coming together. And our first design, our first bag was just this weird black bag. It looked like somebody was slinging drugs to somebody. And we knew we didn't want that. And we just kept pushing forward saying, okay, let's just get it out there, see what the reaction is. And, feedback was great. Some people actually liked that black bag, but we knew we wanted like pops of color and a little bit more sleek and not really geared towards marijuana. And we slowly got there, but that was the struggle, is just getting there, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that was the biggest thing that we learned, and we still kind of use today. We know it's not going to happen overnight when we start planning something, because you can plan all you want, but yeah, it's tough when you start like getting into it.
Yeah, and I think we have found in the past couple of interviews we've been doing with this webinar series that is the case across almost all pet brands, which I think is really reassuring for people out there listening to hear. If you are in the beginning stages of your business and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like you have to figure everything out before you launch, a lot of these pet brands and businesses kind of just started. They started putting things out into the world and just seeing what worked and what didn't. So definitely don't let that be a barrier or hold you back to starting your pet business. Not
Sure.
everyone has it figured out. Don't be fooled by like the K at the end of the Instagram followers. Everyone's still figuring it out.
Oh yeah. And it's funny too, because a lot of people, they come up to us and like, oh my God, we love your packaging. But we didn't hear that for months until we actually started doing events and like going out and meeting some of our customers. We had no clue if anybody liked it. That was like the biggest thing too. So like, I guess go get feedback from people, because they're going to give you your honest opinion, especially if you're selling a product. They're not going to be like, oh my God, that's awesome. Like, those are the things we heard about our packaging and our branding. We really appreciated it, because we didn't really know. We were like, oh yeah, this looks great to us, so let's see what happens.
Yes, I love that. So that kind of segues into my next question. Today, we're going to be really focusing on packaging design. For pet products, I think this is so pivotal to make it, is packaging design. And I know, like you said, you have a background in design and photography, so I'm really excited to jump into this conversation. And I really, truly believe your guys' packaging and design and branding has really helped you stand out among all the other CBD pet products. And I think it's a step a lot of pet products easily overlook. I have seen it time and time again where it's an afterthought with a lot of my clients or people reaching out, where they will just take like a craft bag, a white
Mhm.
label, throw their logo on it, or hire someone from Fiverr really quick. And it's kind of a really missed opportunity to
Yeah.
stand out. So I would love to hear about the care you guys put into your packaging. And do you think really taking the time to craft your band to have this certain look and have it professionally designed has helped you guys get further faster and helped you guys stand out?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we came at it from a place of we made sure that we wanted to design something that we would buy. And I think since we were on the same page, we knew what we wanted. And that kind of helped us push forward and get what we wanted. We spent like hours and hours, like weeks at a time, just trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We got competitors' brands, we got other pet products, and we lined them up and we're like, what's working, what's not working, and really dove into it because we didn't know. We're like, we don't know what anything about packaging at all. So for us, we learned a lot. We saw what, oh, this needs to be on it and that needs to be on it. And I think the brand itself kind of came alive once we started seeing like we knew that once we researched enough, we knew we didn't want to be just that pet brand. We would go, like, I've had dogs all my life and I've been going to the pet store, and you never really see something totally different. Like you mentioned, the craft bags and just like, dog faces everywhere and doing all this. And we knew we didn't want that. We wanted this to be something slightly different. And we tried also staying away from that CBD marijuana world. Cause when we started in 2017, everything was heavily like marijuana branding, kind of grungy a little bit, like weed leaves everywhere. And for us, we didn't want that. And I think even now, today in 2020, you see more of that branding going towards like a higher end, almost like an Apple store branding. And we have some marijuana stores out here, like MedMen. They go for that higher end look, and it doesn't look like some just normal pet product or normal anything. So I think that's where we wanted to go with it. And we also wanted to keep it simple because a lot of brands just throw a bunch of junk on front and it's like, here you go. And that was tough. I mean, it didn't, like, you should have, I wish I could show you like all the different versions we had. It's just like, oh my God, I couldn't even believe, like, it's almost like we got lucky to get where we are because of how many decisions we had to make along the way to get that packaging, which we love. And we love the colors and everything about it.
I think you said something where I was like, ding, 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 ding. Keep it simple.
Yes.
I have seen so many clients who want to put 1,000 icons in the front, made in the USA, this, that, that, that,
Yeah.
that. And it's like, especially in the packaging world, or like you said, being a pet parent, you go in those pet stores and it is just aisles and aisles and aisles of these products. And the
Yeah.
simple things stand out
Oh yeah.
because they're clear amongst all of this chaos.
Yeah. And putting exactly like what you want them to see and guide them. Like if you want to have, the most CBD in your package, or you want to have the best, whatever, I think just emphasizing what you really want to emphasize, I think really matters too, because we just wanted it clean and simple. We left a little hole. You can see the treats inside. So yeah, I mean, it's tough and everybody's so different too. And I think when you have a certain taste, like say you're making a new brand today, I think sometimes it's hard to know what you want. It's almost like I remember, like I started doing photography at a young age, but I feel like you always have people you look up to and you always like. You're like, oh, I really want to shoot like that. And you start kind of taking on that aesthetic a little bit, but you also want to have your own style. And it's hard sometimes to like mush them together and become kind of your own version of it. And I think that's the
Yes.
that's the hardest part. Like you might know what you want, but it's so hard to like to write it out, even to like show it. You're just, when you see it, you almost know. You're like, there it is. I got it. And that's really hard. And it took us a long time to understand that too. It's like we know what we like, and when we see it, we will 100% like that's it.
So that kind of flows into my next question with just taste and overall like making decisions.
Yeah.
So one thing at Docs Design, we always tell our clients is like when you're starting a brand, when you're starting to rebrand, you're designing your brand and your packaging to speak to your ideal customer. I mean, granted, personal taste and things like that do come into play, but when you're choosing blue, you don't just choose it because you like blue, you choose it
Yeah.
because it makes sense for that ideal pet parent. So you guys clearly went for a very bold, a very colorful brand, which I said earlier is really different from a lot of other CBD products out there. If you're
Mhm.
looking at big CBD brands like Holistic Hound or True Leaf, they're all going for this very like natural vibe.
Mhm.
So I'd be interested to know like what led you guys to make those design decisions. Were you trying to target ideal pet parents that were like you guys, or kind of what made you go this more bold and modern route instead of sticking to like the industry norm?
So I guess again, like going back to what I was saying earlier, I think it's very like what we went into, we designed it for us. And we thought about other people, but we thought, okay, where, I'm in my mid 30s, like these are the people I want to be buying it. And, it's kind of funny. Like I think a lot of older people actually like the brand too, which is it's great, but I didn't expect an older generation to like it. Like my parents like it, Erin's parents like it, and it was something that when you make something that good, I guess it just kind of comes across differently. But it was very I don't know how to describe it. I guess it was just being on the same page really helped us get to that point.
Yeah, when I say don't pick blue just because you like
Mhm.
blue, there is still some underlying reasons why you guys picked what you wanted. You were
Yeah,
like, okay, I know the type of parent I am and I can relate to them. So these visual decisions that I'm going to make is
yeah.
something that would stand out to myself in a pet store.
Yeah, and we went in thinking we wanted this to be very bold and bright and simple and very minimal. And I think when you start looking in, a lot of research was done just to try to know and fit into the brand, because there's a lot of companies that just like there's a specific style, I guess. Like I see a lot of companies that seem all very similar in the way they brand and package everything. And we could have went that route, but we didn't really believe in it, I guess. And there was much easier ways, but it's like figuring out what you want to do is so hard. And yeah, picking certain colors, like how's this going to work and how's that going to work? And especially if you're rebranding something, I could only imagine like going into it, you're almost you need to go back to that why of like what is this company doing and what are you trying to do? And it's it's tough. I mean, just thinking of how that company is, it's like you really got to stick to it, and it really helps like just keep it all in line.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you just made, like asking yourself why. I mean, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, our businesses are our babies, and it can be really
Yeah.
hard to kind of sever that bond between you and your
Oh, sure.
business and to ask yourself why. Okay, well, why am I creating this product? Why am I creating this service? And is my visual brand, is my packaging communicating that? Like you said,
Yeah.
you guys could have so easily just done what everyone else was doing, but what made
Mhm.
you guys so successful and what like caught my eye was that you went against the norm and you guys
Yeah.
did something different, and I think that's really important to stick to that.
Yeah. And I guess like making anything, you never know until you do it. And like we love our packaging, and at some point we're gonna refresh it and make it maybe different size bags and everything like that. And that's scary too going into it, because you're like, well, what was so great about this, and how can we keep that and continue kind of evolving, because we're always trying to keep, you know, changing and growing as a company. And also, how does everything stay in line and keep those customers that we still have? And that's the hard part. I mean, it's always, I felt like we just got lucky. Honestly, like just figuring it all out. We're like, oh yeah, it kind of all fell into place. But I think just having a really good team around you and keep the ideas flowing, and everybody, as long as everybody's on that kind of same path, that vision, you can get there. It's just it's going to take some time for sure.
Yeah, so I love that you just mentioned that because that kind of flows in to my next question.
All right.
So the holidays just wrapped up, and I think one thing your guys' brand does really well is keeping your products fresh, as you mentioned. I've seen you guys have limited product releases for like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I think for a ton of pet brands, they kind of get pigeonholed into this like brand guidelines, and they have a really hard time breaking out of it because they don't
Yeah.
have a robust toolbox to build on top of. So as I mentioned earlier, if you just have a few colors in a logo, it really isn't enough, especially when you get into the growing phase and you quickly realize, oh crap, like I need
Yeah.
more colors in my
Ran out
color
of colors.
palette.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so we've already established you guys are a master of your visual brand and packaging, but how do you continue to grow and build on top of what you've already created? So how do you guys keep those creative wheels turning while still making sure everything is on brand?
It is kind of tough. We have like a big idea board of, what the future line could be and how do we change it to keep it all together. And, are we adding products? Are we taking away products? And it's tough because we try to mock up a few things here and there and see, and we haven't really pulled the trigger on kind of revamping the line yet because we're still so young and still trying to figure it all out in this world of just the company. But yeah, the future stuff is hard, and we're struggling with it right now with like some packaging just for like limited releases for like summer and spring, and we're not sure how to do it. Are we going to go similar to our standard bag where it's just very clean, or do we go with our Merry Munchies, which was more of like an inspiration from like the Starbucks cup with like, all the Christmas stuff on it and everything. So for us, we don't know, and we don't know what we're going to do yet. And that's tough. We want it to be fun. We even thought about, bringing on designers and like exclusively like this designer did this bag and something like that, but we don't know yet. And that's the kind of fun of it too. It's like you can do whatever you want. It is your company. But yeah, I think it's growing. So like bringing somebody else on and having a new vision on it, but keeping that same elements to it, kind of like I don't know, like TV shows where every director is different, but they always have like this is how it's shot, and you can go slightly outside the boundaries a little bit, but it's always going to be this show. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with the bag, and keeping it within the boundaries we've built and go from there, because those help so much too, because when building something from scratch is hard, but once you have the outline, it's much easier.
Yes, I love you said that. And I feel like that's a tangible tip for everyone watching.
Yeah.
It's establish those parameters early on. Like what are you comfortable with giving? What has to always be on there to make you instantly recognizable?
Mhm.
But where can you kind of move to get those creative juices flowing and keep things fresh and keep them
Mhm.
different? I've seen
Yeah.
so many people, like I mentioned, they get pigeonholed and they get really caught up in like, but my brand color is blue, and it's like the brand is more than just your color palette. There's a
Yeah.
lot that goes into it, and like that's when we create our brands for our clients, we really make sure they have like this visual toolbox, and that's why that's so important to
Mhm.
have. You can't just have colors in a logo because you're gonna get put in a corner very fast.
Yeah, and then there's no like structure to it too. It's like a color and a logo isn't going to do much unless you have all the other elements that you're going to do, like social media, emails, whatever else you're going to do.
Love that. So, Michael, I just want to say kudos to you guys. You guys have really created something special and different in the pet space. I think you have such a strong point of view, like you mentioned. Everyone I could tell on your team has the same vision in mind, which is what I think is making your brand stand out. I like to say your brand is dope, not just your products. Clearly, you guys are really making an impact with all this press coverage you're getting. You guys were just featured in the Oprah Magazine, which is just
Yeah,
crazy.
I know. I
So
couldn't believe it.
yeah, that's absolutely unbelievable. So I want to wrap this up with one more question I ask
Mhm.
everyone. It takes a while to get to the point where you're really feeling like you've honed in on your brand. You really feel like you've honed it on that vision. And for some of us, it might be ever evolving, whether that's your visual brand or making sure the new products you produce are true to your core values. So I feel like a lot of people at first, as I mentioned, are kind of stumbling around before they even realize they have a brand. So what is the one piece of advice, now that you guys have been doing this for a while, that you
Mhm.
wish you could go back to the beginning phases of your business and tell yourself?
I guess it was just put it out there and continue going, because that's the toughest part, is like putting it out there. And it's always kind of like, oh, it's nervous, like, are people gonna like it? I wouldn't worry about that, because that's the biggest thing is like once it's out there, then you can start refreshing if you want. But if people are buying it, then it's like, well, maybe it's working. You never know. And like I said, like we sat inside our house and just created this company, and we had no feedback for months before we got some feedback. And we're like, oh wow, people like, they like the name, they like this. And I think that's the biggest thing. Just do it, and don't worry about it. You can always change something along the way. Obviously, if you're making like 20,000 bags, I would say try to make sure that's the right one. But if you're doing like a redesign on the company and you want a new logo and all that stuff, I think just if you like it, go with it, and you're the vision of the company and you can make that decision. Just do it. Yeah, just it's tough because you never know. You can always change, you can always tweak. But yeah, just go for it.
I love that. You are the second person out of this interview series to say something along the lines of that, of just
Yeah.
do it. And like you said, it's not forever. Once you put something out there,
Yeah.
your brand is ever evolving. If you don't like something, you can change it. But I think something like a thread that was throughout this whole conversation is just make sure you have that vision down. Make sure you
Yeah.
know your why. Make sure you
Yeah.
know why you're a business.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's tough too, because coming up with that why and that vision is also a process too. You have to be on the same page and really figure out what you like. And we made Pinterest boards, we made, saved Instagrams, shopped a lot, and really tried to consume ourselves with everything possible, and then said, okay, what are we going to do? And I think we tried to do it, and we're still trying to get, even better than what we are today. So
I love that tangible tip for everyone watching or just starting out. Just do as much research and pull as much inspiration as
yeah,
possible. Start printing things out, put them up on your walls, and start to see some themes start to emerge. I think starting with other pet brands that are out there, what do you like, what do you don't like, is a really good starting spot to
yeah.
figure out where you want your brand to land.
Yeah, and I feel like all these, we read a lot of books and we try to digest all this information. And I feel like the one thing that you always get from these like design books or these art books, or even like in art school, they'd always say like, you can copy people, just like put your own spin on it, because everybody copies everybody. Like no one's 100% like authentic. Like I came up with this in the night with a vision. It's like, you probably saw it somewhere and put it all together, and that's what it's going to be. So,
Yes, don't reinvent the wheel. There's actually a book
no.
by a designer I love. It's called Steal Like an Artist by
Yeah,
Austin Kleon. I don't know if you've read that or not, but it's pretty much the same thing, that no one creates something completely custom. There's always inspiration you're drawing
for
from.
sure.
So that's a really good place to start to draw the
Yeah.
inspiration. So you guys have those parameters that you're staying within.
Yeah, you need that.
Awesome. Okay, guys. So last but not least, Dope Dogs has offered 20% off to all of our fur friends listening. So make sure you click that freebie button above. And Dope Dogs, I promise, they're super dope. Try out their products. I want to thank you again for watching along, fur friends, and thank you to Michael taking the time out of your day to share all these insights with us. For all of you watching, if you haven't already, make sure you join our free Facebook group. Just search Design Support for Pet Products and Services, and you will get instant access to all these monthly webinars, freebies, interviews, and more. Thanks, guys.